Hey guys, it's Brittany. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about being a mom while also doing a million other things and not forgetting who you are and your goals because you are more than a mama. So for today's topic, I'm going to talk about 12 disgusting, slightly disturbing things that could happen to you when you get pregnant. But before I get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, especially the share part if you have a friend who's pregnant, newly pregnant, who's never been through this before, because let me tell you, there are going to be some things that are going to be quite shocking and quite disgusting. So when you get pregnant, I feel like no one tells you what to expect. Everyone's like, congratulations. Then you go to your doctor, they throw you a few pamphlets, send you on your way, stick your finger up your hoo-ha, and that's about it. So a lot of things that happened to me when I was pregnant, I just kind of found out. And then I would talk to my doctor and be like, oh yeah, that's normal. And I'm like, what do you mean it's normal? No one's gonna tell me this. I just had to find this out. Today's video is gonna be all the things that can happen. Well, not all the things, but some of the things that could happen to you that are common, but you may not know. So the first thing that was shocking to me after I got pregnant was loose skin. And this was actually after I had the baby. So I got stretch marks while I was pregnant, and that was depressing in and of itself, but whatever. I got stretch marks, it's cool. What I did not know could happen is that you could actually get loose skin. So I just assumed my skin would go back to normal, and I was quite shocked to find out that that is not a thing. And that is actually more common. I guess a lot of people don't talk about it because it's snapback culture, snapback body. However, I got loose skin and I was like, what in the hell? I had this lump. I don't even know how to explain it. It was on my belly button. I went to a dermatologist and I thought I was gonna have to get it removed. I was like, my belly button is so it just looked absolutely crazy. But again, this was stuff that no one ever talked about. And I actually started seeing moms now, and I think it's becoming more of a trend to be real. But I followed this mom because her belly looked like mine. It was oh my gosh, someone else like me. So yeah, I did not know that could happen. I was completely thrown off. And so for me, what happened is I'm very tiny. Well, not very tiny, but I'm tiny. I gained 60 pounds through pregnancy, and then I lost it all really fast. So those drastic changes, my skin just couldn't keep up, and so yep, loose skin. The second thing that can happen to you is that you can lose your butt. So this didn't happen to me. I got a butt, but I don't have a big butt. I ain't got nothing to shout about. But this happened to my friend, and I was actually talking to another friend who said the same thing, and she was like, oh, my butt finally came back, and it's years later. But apparently it's a thing. She was searching, and she was like, this has not just happened to me. I had the opposite problem. My butt got bigger, but I was also fat, so there's that. When I lost the weight, it all went away. But yeah, you could lose your butt. The third thing that happens to you is something called a mucus plug. So I did not know this until it happened. So when you're about to go into labor, and not always, but you lose your mucus plug. So I started having contractions, and then I went to the bathroom and I wiped myself, and a mucus plug is exactly what it sounds like. It looked like my vagina had chew and a bunch of snot came out. It's this slimy, mucus, green, bloody. And I was like, what is this? And later on, after I delivered and I had the baby, I figured out oh yeah, there's a mucus plug up there. What? No one's gonna tell me that this thing's gonna fall out of my vagina. No one. The fourth thing that happens that is actually really common is constipation. So when you're pregnant and you're taking all these medications, your body's going through all these changes, it's really common for you to get constipation. There's a lot of stuff that doctors can recommend. I'm not gonna recommend you nothing because I'm not a doctor, but this is common, and I did not know this. The fifth thing that can happen is loose joints. So when you get closer to delivery, your ligaments, and maybe joints is not the word, but your ligaments start to spread in preparation for labor. So I just remember feeling all loosey-goosey in my hips, and everyone's like, oh yeah, you're preparing for labor. I'm like, your body does that? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, what? You start to kind of feel the best way I can describe it is it's almost like my hip wanted to pop out of its socket. So yeah, loose joints. The sixth thing that happens during pregnancy, and this is actually a little bit post-pregnancy, I'm getting into postpartum land a little bit with all of these, is that it really hurts to poop after pregnancy. After you deliver, pooping is it's almost like going through delivery with no epidural. Is this what not having an epidural would be like? Because it is that painful. It was painful for probably about a month. It feels like you're trying to give birth out of your ass. That's the best way I can describe it. It is downright what in the world. The seventh thing that can happen, and I don't know if it was just me, but I was really, really itchy. Right before I gave birth to my daughter, I felt I was freaking allergic to myself. And I looked it up, and it's not that uncommon, but I haven't heard any of my friends happen to this. But I was literally sitting in an oatmeal, the Aveeno oatmeal bath with a freaking bottle of calamine lotion, Benadryl, the whole works, just sitting there, trying not to scratch myself. This was the days before I delivered. Itchiness. The 8th thing that can happen, I should have put this after like you being constipation, but as a result of that, you can get hemorrhoids. So hemorrhoids are like blood vessels that pop in your anus, your butt. I don't really know. Again, I'm not a doctor, but you can get hemorrhoids, and this is normal. It's not fun. It's terrible to have, but yes, this too can happen to you. The 9th thing that can happen to you is your boobs will leak. So I had my boobs leak pre-pregnancy, and of course your body is getting ready to have a baby, but it's just something weird that I'm just like, this happens now. And then afterwards, again, I'm getting into a little bit of postpartum, but like I had no idea when you're breastfeeding, your boobs just like spray everywhere, like uncontrollably. Like I went to go try on a bra on Target, and like that dressing room after I was done was like, I couldn't, like, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta put my bra back on, like milk everywhere. The next thing that can happen to you is yeast infection. So apparently you have a lot of changes going on. If you know anything about yeast infection, anytime your body gets off balance, like that can happen. So antibiotics can give you a yeast infection because you're messing up your pH. So with all these changes going on, yeast infections are very common for pregnancy. Again, I had no idea, but it's just one of those things where after it shows up and you talk to your doctor like, oh yeah, that can happen. And you're like, what the? Why is no one telling me this? The 11th thing, and I didn't have this happen to me, but nosebleeds. So nosebleeds are common. Women report that. I didn't have that, but I know my friend did. But yes, your nose can just start bleeding out of nowhere because why not? The rest of you is falling apart. So the last thing is a body odor. So I didn't have this happen to me, but it is common for women to report like, hey, I feel like I stink, and no matter what I do, like the smell won't go away, and they just feel like they just have really bad BO. Now, when you're pregnant, your senses are heightened. So I'm also wondering, like with these pregnant people, is it that they think they can smell or that they actually smell? But body odor is a common side effect of pregnancy. Like, who knew? And the very last thing, actually I have one more, so I lied. It's not gonna be 12, it's gonna be 13. Okay, so I always had this idea of like morning sickness was like in the morning until I got pregnant, and then I realized it's like all damn day sickness, and it's really like all damn day, like, are you trying to kill me sickness? I was sick literally all day long. Like I just might as well not have been here. Like I remember like looking down, especially when I was pregnant with my second daughter, and being like, yo, are you trying to kill me? Like that's what I felt like. It wasn't like, oh, I have to throw up. It was like death. Like I don't even know how to explain it to you. I felt absolutely horrible. I couldn't keep anything down. Like I was in the emergency room. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is the end. Take me out. Take me out. So guys, that rounds out my list of 13 things that can happen to you while you're pregnant. So if you have any more, make sure you drop them in the comment box below. Like I said, like no one told me any of this stuff. It just completely like threw me off guard, and I was like, what in the absolute world? So hopefully watching this will bring you some comfort that you are not alone. And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.